Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun. I'm Paul Sanneman, your host, founder of Contractor Staffing Source. We help contractors build great teams. I have Mark Paskell here from Contractors Coaching Partnership. That's a long word. So, Mark, we've known each other a long time and had a great relationship. Tell the audience what you do and how you do it and why they should even listen to you.
Okay. Well, I'm a contractor business coach focusing on the residential construction industry, which includes builders, remodelers, and the trade. Okay. And any business that might support us. And I started my business back in 2007 and 8, and I predominantly work with remodelers, then builders, then trades. I'm a licensed builder. I'm a public adjuster for insurance, as well as I'm a certified Grant Cardone coach recently. I just got that certification. So what I do is basically help contractors build their business organization. And along the way, I discovered you. And I just want to say to you, Paul, and your team, you have helped so many of my clients find good hires so that I could continue coaching. I am at a standstill sometimes when the owner doesn't have the key staff to get away and work on his business. He gets pulled into his business, and you know, being a former coach yourself. So thank you for you and Ed and all the team, Fabiana and Ali before you. You all opened my eyes, and I don't even do any more recruiting. I don't have to recruit anymore. It's unbelievable what you guys do. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. You've helped so many of my clients get to the next level so that I can coach them and they can spend one-on-one time with me.
Thank you.
So it's really been great. And I'm excited to say that on your behalf.
Thank you. So coaching, tell me what makes you special as a coach? Because there's lots of coaches out there, and people listening to this either have a coach or looking for a coach, and I think every contract should have a coach. It's just a given, because it's much cheaper to look for somebody else's mistakes and learn from your own, for sure, right? So, what makes you special as a coach, Mark?
So I had a choice when I did my business plan back in 2006 and 7, and my mentor was Sean McCadden, who's since retired, but what I decided to do, instead of have a large coaching organization with many people, I decided to be Bespoke, where I work with people individually. So my group teachings in Massachusetts, where I'm from, are for continuing education credits for builders who have a license. So I'll be in front of 30, 40, 50 people, but that's the lion's share of doing mass training. Most of my training is bespoke, where I work with the individual, I learn about them, what are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and then try to customize a coaching regimen for them to help them get to their goals and their desired outcomes.
So what do you see as the biggest challenge with people you've coached, and how have you overcome it?
The biggest challenge is I work with the trades. Many trades people don't have a lot of business savvy or business education. And so lack of business education and systems and processes is a challenge for them. They could be the best mechanic or the best tradesman, but if they don't have business, training or savvy, it's hard sometimes to bring them up to speed, especially someone who's, 40, 50, 60 years old. When I start with the younger kids, it's a little bit better because they know technology and they're seeking out a mentor, because they don't want to make the mistakes that maybe the old timers they know made. So bespoke is really the word for my program. It's customized to each individual client.
Okay. Now, as a coach, I did it for God knows 50 years, long time. My biggest problem wasn't knowing what to do, was getting them to do it. Sort of like, how do you get healthy? Eat right and exercise. What's the problem? Everybody knows the answer, right? But we have the fattest country in the world. So the question is, how do you overcome inertia, or how do you get them actually to do what you know and they know they should do?
So I also include in my mentoring and coaching. Positive mental attitude, based on some of the the big names in the industry, like Tony Robbins. Now I'll be doing probably introducing some Grant Cardone concepts, as well as Napoleon Hill. So I basically ask people straight up, Paul, do you want me to hold you accountable to the goals that we set?
So accountability. So the question is, how do you as a coach hold them accountable? Let's say I'm going to call 3 architects next week, or I'm going to interview 2 potential project managers, whatever the goal is really. How do you hold them accountable? So, most people have what they want in life or an excuse. Most people have excuses. So how do you deal with that?
Well, being a former sales manager and having several salespeople under my direction, I was responsible for them. What I do is I become their de facto sales manager. And then I just politely ask them first, do you want to set goals? And most people say yes. So we set the goals, and then we map out the plan. And then there's homework to do. If they don't do the homework, I basically kind of let them have it, politely, of course. But they're paying me a lot of money to improve themselves. And so if they don't have enough pain, I'm going to introduce pain.
I see.
Well,
I got to tell you. So here's the question. So how do you introduce pain? I'd like to. I mean, whips, chains.
I have 2 2x4s.
I see.
1 2x4 I cover with plush carpet. The other 2x4 is got Berber carpet, and the other 2x4 has no carpet. So depending upon the egregiousness of your violation of not doing your homework, that's going to lead to which one I pick to whack you across the side of the head. And of course, you gave me permission to do that when you hired me, because you said you wanted to be held accountable.
Right.
So I'm a motivator. I inspire, but ultimately what I do, and you probably know this too, as a coach, we open the door, we bring them to the door, and we show them the right path. They have to walk through it.
Right.
And I impress them upon that early. And some people I say, look, maybe this business isn't for you. Maybe you should go get a job.
Right.
And sometimes I actually get people jobs.
I've done that. I've had a couple of clients. I said, entrepreneur is not in your blood. You should just get a job, because it's just, you don't love doing it. If you don't love doing it, why? Right? Life's too short. So now you've got a couple new programs going on, Mark. Can you explain what those are?
Sure. And if I led you to believe that they're new, they're actually not new. I have been doing continuing education training in Massachusetts since 2011. It's mandated that anyone who has a license, they have to renew and get credits. And Sean McCadden and I, we put together a few courses that are helping our individual clients. One is the Lead Carpenter program, which is, many people are familiar with NARI and the National Association of Home Builders.
Right.
Well, McCadden came into our company and helped us install the Lead Carpenter process, and I trained my salespeople, and now I train my clients on it. But I'm doing onesie-twosies. So what I'm thinking is, if I offered, more group virtual trainings on Lead Carpenter management, on what it is and what it isn't, and maybe even a little project manager, I think that is going to help a lot more people more quickly than the onesie-twosie. The other part that's absolutely essential is estimating. We have to know how to estimate. And so I'm going to be offering an estimating workshop that is mainly for owners, salespeople, and foremen or lead carpenters, project managers. And I want to help them understand the science of estimating accurately. And there is no price list that is the price list for everything in America. There is none.
No, that's true. And then there's lots of software. There's, Excel spreadsheets. There's, whatever, Buildertrain, CoConstruct, JobTread, Procore. Everybody says use our estimating package, and some work and some don't. But to me, you have to know what things cost where you are, because that changes depending on where you are.
It is one more grave error that a lot of people make, Paul. No 2 contracting companies are alike. Never were and never will be. Quick point. One, I have a husband who makes 70 grand a year. The wife makes 225 a year, and he's happy doing what he does at that rate. And she provides the main income for the family. Conversely, there's a contractor who the guy makes 200K a year. The wife's a stay-at-home mom. He has to bring in the coin. The prices from those two different companies is completely different. There is no standard.
It also depends on your competition and your margin, right? I mean, if you've got two guys in a truck out there competing against you and they're working on 20%, you're trying to get 50%, there's different ways you need to approach. I mean, it isn't one size fits all for estimating. It really depends on the project, the competition, the weather, I mean, everything, right? So how do you teach them how to include all those variables to get a price that will work and also make the money? Because you don't want to do it and lose money, obviously.
Number one thing is they have to do a budget. Any company that starts off the year without a budget based on last year's success or not success, right, is making a grave error. So tradespeople don't generally go to college. They like to be outside, working on projects. So we gotta at least get them to work maybe with their accountant or someone in financial to do a budget. Sometimes we do the budget for them outside of the estimating, but they need to know what their overhead expense is every year, and they need to know what their overhead requirement, I mean, what their profit is. And that's going to lead to their markup, and then we can figure out their margin. And so many contractors don't know the difference between markup and margin.
Right.
So we got to teach them that, and then give them some estimating skills.
So if people want to get in touch with you for these courses, about how much do they cost and how do they get in touch with you? Because it sounds like something everybody should.
That's a great question. Getting in touch with me is easy, the Contractor Coaching Partnership, or just Google Mark Paskell. Don't go to the magician. He's in California. There is a Mark Paskell magician. That's why I can't get markpaskell.com. But the Contractor Coaching Partnership, in Massachusetts, and I'll come right up most time. And then what are the pricing going to be? I would say the pricing points are going to be between $1,000 to $3,000, depending upon the length of the program.
Okay, cool. So that's certainly worthwhile because you can lose that in one bid, no problem. So next question, and then as far as a coach, what do you charge monthly, or does it depend on the client? It varies.
So my coaching fees are generally $250 an hour for just general consulting. But typically what I do is I do onboarding. An onboarding program will be, $2,000-$3,000, for 4 or 5 sessions to get to know people. And where there is some coaching, but that gives us enough information to see if really we're a fit for them and they're a fit for us. And then we give them a customized coaching program, and it can vary really from $5,000-$6,000 to $30,000, depending upon what they need.
What you want to do. Okay.
Well, like if they need sales training, it's probably going to be more intensive, right?
Right. So Mark, I thank you for being here, and we know you a long time. And there's a lot of coaches out there, a lot of coaching companies. I think one of the good news about you is they're getting you, not, when they call you, they get you, which is really cool.
That's correct.
So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And if you're looking for a coach, I've known Mark a long time. He's got a lot of success stories. He's amazing. And he can also hold you accountable in a way that will make you feel good about it.
All right. Can I do one more thing?
Sure.
So a lot of people want to know, what's your resume? I started back in 1991 with Sears Siding, and I went to a company that was union for 15 years, and we did roofing, siding, windows, and remodeling. And that led to president of NARI. I'm an OSHA trainer. I'm a public adjuster. I've sold thousands of jobs, and I've trained over 18,000 people in Massachusetts on regulatory training. So I know what's going on.
And Mark, you don't look old enough to do that, but that's a compliment.
I'll be 65 in 1 month.
You look great. Thanks a lot, Mark. I appreciate being here.
Take care, buddy.